Welcome, curious minds. Get ready for a deep dive with us today.
Yeah, we're tackling something huge.
We really are. A topic that's, well, it's quite literally rewriting the playbook for human progress. We're talking about nothing less than the dawn of a new scientific method.
Powered by artificial intelligence. It's really transforming things.
For centuries, science has been, a fundamentally human thing. It relied on our intuition, a lot of painstaking trial and error.
So much manual work. The sheer pace was limited by, well, us.
Exactly. But what if AI isn't just a super fast data cruncher? What if it's more like a creative partner?
That's the key shift, isn't it?
Imagine AI designing experiments all by itself, analyzing the results, learning from them,
Huh?
faster than any human possibly could.
You know, what's truly transformative here, it isn't just the speed up. We often talk about acceleration, but it's more than that.
Okay.
We're really witnessing a kind of tectonic shift.
Yeah.
AI is moving from being just a tool, a passive thing we use,
Right, for analysis.
to being an active, almost creative force in discovery. This is fundamentally changing how we even think about understanding the universe.
And how we solve its biggest problems too, presumably.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like we're getting a whole new way to approach science itself, a reimagining of the process.
That's huge. So today, we're diving into the sources you've brought to the table, really trying to understand this revolution.
Yep.
Our mission, if you will, is to unpack how AI is speeding up breakthroughs in, well, pretty much everything. Designing new medicines, creating new materials.
Understanding life itself, the genome.
Exactly. And even tackling the climate crisis head on. It's a fascinating moment to be watching this unfold.
It really is. But, like any big technological leap, it forces us to ask some tough questions.
Always does. Like what?
Well, what are the risks involved? There have to be
Yeah.
some. Who actually controls this immense power? Because it is immense power.
That's a big one. Centralization concerns.
Yeah. And maybe the most important question, how do we make sure this new scientific era, with all these amazing capabilities, actually benefits all of humanity?
And not just, a select few.
Precisely. That's the ethical tightrope we have to walk.
So what does this all mean for science, for you listening, for the future we're building together? Let's explore this. Let's maybe start with the fundamental shift, the thing that's really shaking up how science gets done day to day.
Okay.
For a very long time, science has kind of worked on this cycle, right? It's called the design, make, test, analyze loop, DMTA.
The DMTA loop, yeah. Standard practice.
Think of it like steps. You design an experiment, you make something or synthesize it, you test it out, and then you analyze those results.
And that analysis feeds back into the next design. It's a cycle.
Exactly. But historically, every single one of those steps was manual, human-driven.
Oh, completely.
Oh.
A researcher had an idea, went into the lab, did the experiment by hand.
Pipettes and test tubes, the whole thing.
Yeah. Painstakingly collecting data, maybe scribbling in a notebook, then trying to interpret it to figure out what to do next.
It sounds incredibly laborious when you put it like that. Time-consuming.
It was, and totally limited by human speed, human bias, just human limitations.
And that's where AI comes in, right? To break that cycle or speed it up.
Well, it transforms it. It creates what some people call a flywheel effect.
The flywheel, how so?
If we kind of zoom out for a second, the really profound thing here is that AI changes science from being just a series of separate experiments
Right, one experiment, then the next.
into this continuously self-optimizing learning system. Every single discovery, it's not just a standalone win.
It feeds back.
It feeds directly back into the AI's knowledge base. The AI learns from every success, but crucially, also from every failure.
So failures aren't wasted effort anymore.
Not at all. They're just more data points. This progressively refines the AI's models, its understanding, and that dramatically accelerates the pace of future breakthroughs.
So the flywheel speeds up with each cycle.
Exactly. This automation, it isn't just making the old processes faster. It's fundamentally changing the infrastructure of science. It's turning labs into these high-throughput discovery engines.
Wow.
It's almost like the scientific method itself got a massive intelligence upgrade.
That idea, the AI-driven DMTA loop, it's not just a theory anymore, is it?
No, not at all.
It's becoming a physical reality. We're seeing these things called science factories or self-driving labs pop up.
That's right, autonomous labs.
When I first read about this, honestly, it sounded like pure science fiction, robots doing science.
Yeah, it has that feel, doesn't it? But it's happening now. These are real facilities where AI and robotics are working together.
Conducting research with, what, a level of autonomy we haven't seen before?
Pretty much high levels of autonomy.
Okay, give us an example.
Well, take Leadless Sciences. It's a company spun out of Flagship Pioneering.
Okay.
You're literally building autonomous labs where generative AI systems come up with new hypotheses. The AI suggests what to test.
The AI has the ideas.
It proposes them, yeah, based on all the data it has. And then robotic platforms just take over. They run thousands, maybe tens of thousands of experiments in parallel.
Thousands. That scale is just mind-boggling compared to a human team.
It completely dwarfs traditional research.
Yeah.
And look at the results. In one demonstration, Leela's platform found novel catalysts for green hydrogen production. Crucially, non-platinum catalysts.
Which is a huge deal for cost and sustainability, right?
Absolutely. And they did it in just 4 months.
4 months. How long would that normally take?
Experts estimated a decade using conventional methods.
A decade down to 4 months. That's
Yeah.
not incremental improvement. That's a revolution.
It really is. A 90% time reduction, potentially accelerating a sustainable energy future.
Okay, another example. Is this widespread?
It's growing. Look at the U.S. Department of Energy's Argonne National Laboratory. They have a tool called Polybot.
Polybot, what does it do?
It also combines AI and robotics, but it focuses on exploring and optimizing how you make electronic polymers.
Okay, like for plastics and electronics.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Advanced materials. Now, imagine you're trying to figure out the best way to produce these. And there are almost a million possible combinations of factors.
A million. You could never test all those manually.
Impossible. So Polybot uses AI-guided exploration. It doesn't test randomly. It intelligently chooses which experiments to run to gather the most useful data quickly.
So it efficiently maps out that huge possibility space.
Exactly. It finds the optimal manufacturing recipes super fast, finding combinations humans might never stumble upon through just exhaustive trial and error. It's smart exploration.
This is incredible, but it leads to a big question, doesn't it?
I think I know where you're going.
What happens to the human scientist in all this? Are we automating ourselves out of a job?
It's a fair question, and one a lot of people ask.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it seems to be shaping up, the answer is no, not really. As AI takes over the more repetitive, data-heavy tasks.
The making and testing, the crunching of numbers.
Right. The human role isn't diminished, it actually gets elevated. We shift from being, primarily lab technicians or data analysts
To what?
to being high-level strategists, visionaries even. Our key contributions become defining the really important questions to ask in the first place.
Setting the direction.
Yes. Ensuring the AI aligns with scientific standards, with ethical considerations, providing the oversight, the intuition, the creativity that guides the whole inquiry.
So it's becoming more of a partnership.
A powerful, evolving partnership.
Yeah.
The human defines the problem, gives context, sets the goals. The AI does the heavy lifting on learning, reasoning, suggesting solutions.
It frees us up for the conceptual work.
Precisely. It's less about AI taking over, much more about augmenting human ingenuity.
That's a crucial distinction because it highlights this tension that seems central to the whole story.
Which tension is that?
The push and pull between democratization and centralization, making these tools available to everyone versus power concentrating in a few hands.
Yes, that's a huge underlying theme.
On one side, you see these amazing examples where the benefits are being shared really widely, trying to build an open, global scientific community.
Like AlphaFold.
Exactly. The free release of Google DeepMind's AlphaFold protein structure database, that was monumental.
It really was. Solved a 50-year grand challenge in biology.
And then they just gave it away. Over
Yeah.
200 million predicted protein structures, free for any researcher anywhere.
It supercharged biological research overnight, globally.
And you see similar things like the Allen Institute for AI making its climate emulator, ACE, open source.
Right, sharing the tools. That's the democratization side.
But then there's the other side, the centralization concern.
The resources needed are immense.
Creating these next-gen foundation models for science, the really cutting-edge ones, it takes staggering amounts of computing power.
Unbelievable amounts.
Yeah.
And vast data sets. High quality, often proprietary data.
And who has those resources?
Well, overwhelmingly, it's a handful of major tech companies.
Yeah.
Google, Microsoft.
And maybe some heavily funded startups.
Exactly. And this is already creating a gap, isn't it? A disparity between what big industry labs can access and what academic researchers can.
So academia might fall behind.
There's a real risk. Now, there are efforts to bridge this. Initiatives like the National Science Foundation's NAR pilot program in the U.S.
What does NAR do?
It's trying to give academic researchers access to the kind of computational power they need to stay competitive.
That's good. But is it enough?
That's the question. If you zoom out, there's this persistent, significant risk of a kind of two-tiered science ecosystem developing.
Tier 1 being?
The elite corporate labs, flush with cash and data, driving the truly fundamental breakthroughs.
And Tier 2?
The broader academic world, maybe using slightly older open-source versions of the tools. Still doing great science, but perhaps not at the absolute bleeding edge of AI model development.
That concern has been voiced by experts.
Oh, yes. Dr. Fei-Fei Li at Stanford, a real pioneer in AI, has explicitly called for much greater public sector investment in AI research, precisely to counter this trend.
Because this could really reshape everything. Scientific careers, how public money is spent.
Even the very nature of research done for the public good. If the most powerful tools are locked up in private companies, what does that mean for tackling problems that don't have an obvious profit motive?
It's a huge challenge we absolutely have to grapple with. Okay, let's dive into the actual tech then, the nuts and bolts.
Right.
We've talked about the impact, the structure of research changing, but for people listening, what specific AI techniques are actually doing the work here? Let's get past the buzzword AI.
That's a great point, because what's really illuminating is that these aren't usually general-purpose AIs, like a chatbot.
They're specialized.
Highly specialized, meticulously designed to understand and work with the fundamental languages of science.
Languages of science, like what?
Like the sequence of a gene,
Right.
the 3D structure of a molecule, the complex patterns in climate data.
Got it. So what are some key types?
Well, at a high level, you have these foundation models for science.
Okay, like foundation models for language, LLMs.
Exactly analogous. LLMs learn the grammar of human language from vast text data. These science foundation models are trained on enormous scientific data sets.
Molecular structures, gene sequences, climate simulations.
All of it. They learn the underlying grammar and principles of a specific scientific field. This deep understanding lets them do many things, generate hypotheses, design experiments.
Examples.
Microsoft's AI for Science group built MatterGen. It's trained on huge amounts of materials data to design totally new crystal structures.
Designing new materials from scratch.
Yeah, or NASA's Indus SDE. That's a custom LLM trained on 500,000 scientific papers to automatically classify and summarize research. Speeds up finding relevant info immensely.
So these are like powerful base platforms.
Exactly. Generalized platforms you can then build more specific applications on top of.
Okay, what else? Especially for things like drugs and materials.
For those fields, one of the absolute workhorses is the graph neural network, or GNN.
Why is graph?
Because molecules and materials aren't just linear strings of information like text. They're complex 3D structures. Atoms are nodes, bonds are edges. It's a graph.
And traditional AI struggles with that structure.
Really struggles. GNNs are built specifically for this. They operate directly on that graph structure.
What does that let them do?
It lets them learn the intricate relationships between atoms, bonds, their position in space. This is crucial for predicting properties.
Like whether a drug will bind to a target protein?
Precisely. Or predicting a material's stability. GNNs are indispensable for that now, a cornerstone of modern discovery in those areas.
Makes sense. What about the AI that powers things like ChatGPT, transformers, and NLP? Do they play a role?
Oh, a huge role. Think of it like scientists using these models to read two incredibly important books.
Which books?
The Book of Life, the Genome, and the Book of Science, all the published literature.
How are transformers used for the genome?
In genomics and proteomics, models like Prolpert or Chemberta are trained on millions of protein or chemical sequences. They learn the long-range patterns.
And that lets them predict function. Or toxicity.
Yeah, with remarkable accuracy, often better than older methods. DeepMind's Informer model is amazing. It can predict how a gene will be expressed just by reading the nearby DNA sequence, a massive leap in understanding gene regulation.
And for reading the scientific literature.
NLP tools are tackling the information overload. Platforms like Elicit and Consensus can scan, summarize, synthesize findings from millions of papers.
So you can just ask it a question.
Pretty much. Ask something like, what's known about this compound? And it returns a simplified answer, backed up by quotes and citations from the literature.
That must save researchers an unbelievable amount of time.
Hours, days, weeks. And it also helps spot connections between fields, find knowledge gaps you might miss otherwise.
Okay, foundation models, GNNs, transformers, NLP. Anything else major?
Yes, and this might be the most revolutionary part. Generative AI.
Generative AI. We hear that term a lot. How does it apply here?
Well, the models we just discussed are mostly about analysis and prediction, understanding what is or what will be. Generative models can create
Create what?
entirely new, viable scientific objects from scratch. New molecules, new materials.
So it's not just finding things that already exist, it's inventing new ones.
Exactly. This is a complete paradigm shift, especially in drug and materials discovery. We're moving from screening existing things to designing novel ones.
How does that work?
A scientist can define the properties they want. High conductivity, low toxicity, strong binding to a target.
To specify the requirements.
Right. And then task a generative model to design a brand new molecule or material that meets those specs. De novo design.
Wow, so the AI isn't just an assistant anymore.
It's becoming a creative collaborator. It can propose solutions a human, maybe limited by their own biases or just the sheer number of possibilities, might never have thought of.
It's moving from finding to inventing. That feels like a really big deal.
It is. It's fundamentally changing the creative process in science.
Okay, let's focus this incredible potential onto human health, because this is where it gets really personal for all of us, right?
Absolutely. The potential impact on medicine is enormous.
The journey of bringing a new drug to patients, it's notoriously difficult.
Incredibly so. It's one of the most challenging scientific endeavors.
You hear about the costs, billions sometimes, the time, often over a decade, from lab to pharmacy.
And the failure rate is just staggering. Only about 10% of drugs that even make it into human clinical trials end up getting approved.
Would 90% fail? Why?
All sorts of reasons. They don't work as well as hoped, or they have unexpected side effects. Safety issues emerge late in the game.
So it's this high-risk, high-cost trial and error process.
Exactly. And that's been a huge bottleneck in getting new treatments to people who need them.
So the big question then is, how can AI help fix this pipeline?
Right. Can it fundamentally de-risk the process? Can it accelerate every stage?
Making it faster, cheaper.
And crucially, increasing the probability of success, getting more effective medicines to patients faster.
Okay, let's break it down. How does AI intervene? Stage by stage.
Let's start at the very beginning. Stage 1, target identification.
Finding the right biological target in the body for a drug to act on.
Exactly. Finding that specific protein or gene involved in a disease that you can actually influence with a drug. Traditionally, this took years of painstaking biological detective work.
How does AI change that?
By analyzing data at a scale humans just can't handle. It sifts through massive data sets, multi-omics data.
Genomics, proteomics, all that.
Yes, the whole biological picture, plus the entire scientific literature. AI models can spot patterns, identify potential new targets, and even validate them.
Can you give an example of a tool doing this?
Sure. In silico medicine has a platform called pandaomics. It uses AI to score potential targets based on disease association, their drugability.
Meaning, can you actually design a drug to hit it?
Right. And tissue specificity, is it active where you need it to be? This helps researchers focus on the most promising pathways right from the start.
Finding non-obvious connections, maybe.
Often, yes. Things human intuition might miss.
Okay, so you've identified a promising target. What's next?
Stage 2, hit discovery and lead optimization. This is the hunt for a molecule, a hit, that actually interacts with your target in a useful way, and then optimizing it to become a lead compound.
The traditional way was high-throughput screening, right?
Yeah.
Testing millions of chemicals?
Yes, physically testing them in labs. Very resource-intensive. AI offers alternatives.
Like virtual screening.
Exactly. AI algorithms screen digital libraries of billions, even trillions, of molecules computationally, predicting which ones are likely to bind well. Much faster, much cheaper.
And then there's that de novo design we talked about.
Yes, using generative AI to design completely new molecules optimized for the target and other desired properties, not just searching existing ones.
Companies are doing this now.
Absolutely. A Paris-based company called Ictos, for example, uses its generative AI platform to create novel molecular structures tailored precisely to specific targets. It's faster and often more creative than just screening.
But it's not just about finding something that binds, right? It needs to bind well.
Precisely. Binding affinity, how tightly the drug sticks to the target, is key for efficacy. Predicting that accurately has been tough.
How's AI helping there?
There's been great progress. A team at MIT, led by Regina Barsley, working with Recursion Pharmaceuticals, developed Boltz-2.
What does Boltz-2 do?
It's an AI model that predicts binding affinity with accuracy close to traditional, very slow, physics-based methods, but way, way faster and cheaper. That's a huge boost for optimizing potential drugs.
Okay, target found, hit molecule designed and optimized. What's the next hurdle?
Stage 3, preclinical and clinical success prediction. This is where so many drugs used to fail unexpectedly. They looked good early on, but turned out to be toxic or didn't behave well in the body.
Can AI predict these failures earlier?
That's the goal. Using ADMET prediction, AI models forecast a drug's absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, and toxicity based just on its molecular structure.
So you can filter out the likely failures before expensive animal testing or human trials.
Exactly. Reduce that massive late-stage attrition rate. AI is even moving into clinical trials themselves,
Ow.
helping optimize trial design, stratifying patients, finding those most likely to respond, maybe even using digital twins.
Virtual patients to supplement real trials.
Potentially, yes. Reducing trial size and duration. The overall impact. It's pretty striking.
What are the numbers showing?
Early data suggests drugs discovered with AI help have an 80–90% success rate in phase 1 trials.
Compared to what traditionally?
Roughly 40–65%. So it's a dramatic improvement in getting past that first human testing hurdle. It's really changing the odds.
That is genuinely game-changing for medicine. Now, let's talk about one specific breakthrough that feels like it defined this new era.
You mean AlphaFold?
I mean AlphaFold. For 50 years, predicting a protein's 3D shape from its amino acid sequence was this massive unsolved problem in biology, right?
A grand challenge, absolutely.
Yeah.
And incredibly important because shape dictates function, critical for understanding disease and designing drugs.
And then DeepMind's AlphaFold 2 came along in, what, 2022?
Yes. And it essentially solved it, predicting structures with experimental accuracy, but in minutes or hours, not months or years.
And the incredible part was what they did next.
Releasing the database.
Releasing the database. Over 200 million predicted protein structures made available freely to the entire scientific community.
It gave scientists everywhere access to the blueprints of life practically overnight, an unprecedented resource.
How did that lead to isomorphic labs?
Well, as DeepMind executives saw it, AlphaFold proved that foundational AI could crack drug discovery at scale. It was the validation.
So they spun out a sister company.
Exactly. Isomorphic Labs, also under Alphabet, their specific mission, build a world-class drug design engine.
Are they developing their own drugs?
Not exactly. Their model is to partner with big pharma companies. They've announced deals with Eli Lilly, Novartis.
And they bring their AI expertise to the table.
Right, applying their advanced AI, including the next-gen AlphaFold 3.
Which can model interactions with DNA too, right? Not just proteins.
Exactly. Applying that power to the pharma partners' drug pipelines.
Ah.
And now, Isomorphic says they are very close to a huge milestone.
What's that?
Putting their first AI-designed drugs into human clinical trials.
Wow. From AI prediction to human testing.
That will be a massive moment, a real bellwether for the whole field. If those drugs show promise in humans, it validates the entire AI-driven discovery approach in a huge way.
It really feels like the whole space is just buzzing. Established pharma, AI startups.
It's a very dynamic ecosystem. You have Isomorphic Labs with AlphaFold 3, focusing on cancer, immunology, partnering with Lilly, Novartis.
Who else?
You have Recursion, using automated experiments and machine learning on cell images. Phenomic Data partnered with NVIDIA, Roche, Genentech, Exscientia, using generative AI for patient-centric design, working with Sumitomo Danapon Pharma. In silico medicine, using generative AI and LLMs for target discovery, partnered with Sanofi, Fosun Pharma. Ictos, which we mentioned, with its generative chemistry, working with Janssen, Merck, Pfizer.
So all the big players are involved, alongside these specialized AI companies.
It shows how deeply AI is penetrating every aspect of drug R&D.
Let's shift slightly. Beyond finding drugs, how is deep learning changing our fundamental understanding of the human genome itself?
Another huge area. For decades, we could sequence the 3 billion letters of DNA, but truly interpreting that code, understanding its language, was largely beyond us.
We had the book, but couldn't really read it.
Pretty much. But AI is finally giving us the analytical power to translate that vast amount of data into actionable medical insights.
Moving genomics from research into real personalized healthcare.
That's the goal. And it starts with just reading the code more accurately.
Sequencing isn't perfectly accurate.
No, the machines generate millions of short overlapping fragments. Assembling them and spotting variations compared to a reference genome introduces errors.
How does AI help?
Google developed Deep Variant. It cleverly reframes variant calling, finding those differences as an image recognition problem.
Like facial recognition, but for DNA.
Kind of. It creates a visual plot of the DNA fragments around a potential variant and uses a convolutional neural network, like those used for images, to look at the plot and decide if it's a real mutation or just a sequencing error.
And that's more accurate.
Significantly more accurate than older statistical methods. gives a cleaner starting point.
Okay, so we can read the variants better. What about understanding what they do? Especially the 98% of the genome that isn't protein-coding genes.
That's the regulatory genome, controlling when and where genes turn on and off. Understanding its grammar is key to understanding disease.
And AI is cracking that code.
Making huge strides.
Yeah.
DeepMind's Informer, that transformer model, can predict gene expression levels just from the DNA sequence, including those complex, distant regulatory elements.
So it understands the control switches.
It's learning to. And models like DeepSea go further, predicting the functional impact of mutations in those non-coding regions. It learns patterns associated with protein binding sites, so it can flag a single letter change that might disrupt a critical regulatory switch, potentially turning on a cancer gene or silencing a protective one.
Helping sort the important mutations from the harmless ones.
Exactly. Because we all have millions of variants, most don't do anything harmful. This helps find the ones that matter for disease.
So bringing this back to the individual, what does this mean for me, for you? How does this translate to personalized medicine?
It's the absolute foundation. The goal is moving away from one-size-fits-all treatments.
Tailoring medicine to our unique genetic makeup.
Right. One clear application is drug response prediction. Imagine training AI models on thousands of tumor samples, linking their specific mutations to how they responded to different drugs.
So when a new patient comes in,
You sequence their tumor, feed the data to the AI, and it predicts which drugs are most likely to work for that specific tumor, guiding oncologists to personalize plans from day one.
avoiding trial and error chemotherapy.
That's the hope. Similarly, for disease risk and prevention, AI can create sophisticated genomic risk scores.
Looking at your genes to predict future disease risks.
Yes, for complex diseases like heart disease, diabetes, certain cancers, analyzing your genetic predisposition alongside lifestyle factors.
What's the benefit of knowing that risk?
It allows for proactive targeted prevention, maybe earlier cancer screenings, specific dietary advice, interventions before the disease ever develops.
That sounds incredibly powerful, but does it feel abstract or are there real stories here?
Oh, there are very real human stories. The Genomics England project shared the story of Jessica, a young girl. Her diagnostic odyssey involved sorting through 6.4 million genetic variants.
That's overwhelming.
Completely. But genomics narrowed it down to a single diagnosis, finally giving her family answers, a direction for her care.
Wow.
And Professor James Lupsky, a pioneer in clinical genomics, actually used his own genome sequence to understand the genetic condition he'd lived with his whole life. It shows the deeply personal impact.
So it's not just tech, it's changing individual lives, providing clarity, guiding treatment, offering hope.
Exactly. Tangible, life-changing impacts.
Okay, let's shift gears again. From the code of life to the physical world around us. How is AI shaping the materials we use, designing them from the ground up?
This is another incredibly exciting frontier. Historically, finding new materials was, well, slow, often accidental, like discovering Teflon or something.
Serendipity plays a big role.
It did. But AI enables a shift to what's called inverse design.
Inverse design, what's that?
Instead of finding a material and then figuring out what it's good for, you start with the desired properties.
Like, I need something super strong, or I need something that captures carbon really well.
Precisely. You define the need first. Then you use AI to design a novel material that meets those specifications in silico computationally.
Before you even make it in the lab.
Exactly. Design first, synthesize later.
And the tools for this are those generative models we discussed.
Yes, they are the core engines, acting as material designers. Tech giants, research labs, they're building foundation models for material science.
Like Microsoft's MatterGen.
That's a prime example. MatterGen has proposed millions of computationally stable, completely new inorganic crystal structures, things no human had ever conceived of.
Vastly expanding the known chemical space.
Massively. It's not just screening known materials, it's true invention of new possibilities.
And this computational creativity, it gets paired with the physical automation, right? The self-driving labs again.
Yes, the two go hand in hand. Argonne's Polybot is that perfect example.
The one optimizing electronic polymers.
Right. Faced with nearly 1 million possibilities, the AI guided the robotic system formulation, coding, testing, to quickly find the best recipes for high-conductivity films.
Something impossible to do manually.
Practically impossible. It's the full loop. AI designs, robots execute and test, AI learns, designs again, an accelerated discovery pipeline.
Okay, where is this having the biggest impact right now? Let's look at some critical areas for a sustainable future.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Two areas really stand out.
First one.
Case study 1, the quest for better batteries. Our whole transition to sustainable energy hinges on breakthroughs in energy storage.
And current lithium-ion batteries have limits,
They do. Energy density, charging speed, safety, remember those fires, and reliance on materials like lithium and cobalt.
which have environmental and ethical sourcing issues.
Big time. So AI is attacking this battery problem from multiple angles.
How so?
For instance, discovering safer materials. A big goal is solid-state batteries using solid electrolytes instead of flammable liquids. Safer, potentially higher energy density.
But finding the right solid materials is hard.
Very hard. But AI can screen candidates incredibly fast. Microsoft and Pacific Northwest National Lab used AI to screen over 32 million potential solid electrolyte materials.
32 million, how long did that take?
They narrowed it down to 23 promising ones in just 80 hours.
80 hours, that would take.
Decades, traditionally.
Ah.
And they actually synthesized one of the AI's top picks and built a working prototype battery.
Incredible speed. What about getting away from lithium and cobalt?
That's the finding sustainable alternatives angle. AI models explore totally different chemistries, designing and evaluating structures virtually to find replacements that are effective, sustainable, and scalable.
Designing batteries without the problematic elements.
Exactly. And finally, AI is accelerating testing. Battery cycle life testing, charging and discharging thousands of times, takes forever.
Years, sometimes.
AI can compress that. The U.S. Army is using AI models to predict battery end of life with 95% less testing time and more accurately, too.
Shaving years off development.
Potentially, yes. Getting better, safer, more sustainable batteries to market much faster.
Okay, that's batteries. What's the second big case study?
Case study 2. AI for greener technologies more broadly, applying the same materials discovery power to things like solar power and carbon capture.
Let's start with solar. How's AI helping there?
Perovskites are a really promising material for next-gen solar cells, potentially cheaper and more efficient than silicon. But finding the best perovskite recipe is complex.
Lots of possibilities.
A huge chemical space. In one study, AI helped navigate a space of 1 million virtual molecules for a component in perovskite cells.
And the result?
With just 150 robot-assisted experiments guided by the AI, they found new materials that boosted solar cell efficiency significantly, up to 26.2%. A big jump in efficiency achieved quickly.
And for carbon capture, that's crucial for climate change.
Absolutely. Metal organic frameworks, MOFs, are these porous materials that can trap CO2, kind of like molecular cages.
Can AI design better MOFs?
Dramatically faster. Researchers used a generative AI diffusion model, similar to image generation AI.
But for molecules?
Yes, it designed over 120,000 unique, stable MOF candidates in just 33 minutes on a supercomputer.
120,000 new potential carbon traps in half an hour.
And further analysis found several with CO2 capacity in the top 5% of all known materials. It shows AI's power to rapidly invent solutions for huge environmental challenges.
This really connects to the bigger picture of the climate crisis. Understanding and predicting climate change itself is incredibly complex, right?
One of the most complex scientific challenges we face. Traditional climate models, based on physics, are amazing, but computationally brutal.
They need massive supercomputers, take months to run.
Exactly, which limits their resolution. They can't easily capture local extreme weather and limits how many future scenarios scientists can explore.
So how is AI changing climate modeling?
It's introducing a whole new class of models. Faster, more efficient, and often more accurate, especially for certain tasks, providing the high-resolution forecasts we desperately need.
What are these AI models called?
One key type is AI climate emulators. These are machine learning models trained on vast amounts of climate data, either observations or output from the big physics models.
So they learn to mimic the climate system.
They learn to approximate its behavior, yeah. But at a tiny fraction of the computational cost. The Allen Institute's ACE model is a great example, open source too. Simulates weather thousands of times faster.
Faster simulations mean more exploration.
Exactly. And Google DeepMind's GraphCast has shown incredible performance in medium-range weather forecasting.
Better than traditional weather models.
More accurate and much faster, predicting global weather up to 10 days out. Especially good at predicting extreme events like cyclones, giving more warning time.
That saves lives.
Wow.
Is AI also building completely new types of climate models?
Yes, using generative AI. A leading example is spherical DY fusion.
Spherical diffusion.
Yeah, developed by UC San Diego and AI2. It combines generative AI with a neural network designed specifically for spherical data, perfect for modeling the globe.
What can it do?
It can project 100 years of global climate patterns in just 25 hours on a standard lab GPU cluster.
100 years in about a day. How fast is that compared to traditional model?
Roughly 25 times faster. And that speed isn't just convenient. It allows for many more simulations, ensemble projections.
Running the simulation many times with slight variations.
Right, which gives a much better handle on the uncertainty in climate predictions, crucial for making robust decisions.
So bringing this back to us again, what does this improved climate modeling mean for you and me?
The impact on policy and preparedness is huge. Traditional models often lack the local detail needed for city planning or regional adaptation.
Of course.
Exactly. Now, AI models can provide detailed forecasts, predicting extreme rainfall in a specific valley, wildfire risk for a particular forest, sea level rise impact on a specific coastline.
That's actionable intelligence.
It really is. It allows policymakers, infrastructure planners, emergency responders to shift from being reactive, cleaning up after a disaster.
You being proactive.
Yes, proactive adaptation, planning resilient communities, investing in the right infrastructure, implementing preventive measures before disaster strikes, potentially saving lives, protecting property, building a more resilient future.
It's clear the potential is enormous across so many fields. But this revolution, it's not just happening technically, it's being shaped by people, right? By their visions, their concerns.
Absolutely. There's a real human drama playing out behind the scenes, a tension between those pushing the capabilities forward as fast as possible and those urging caution.
The optimists versus the cautious pioneers.
You could frame it that way. It's fascinating to see how the field's own leaders view the future of AI and science.
Let's hear about the optimists first. Who are they and what's their vision?
Well, leading voice is Demis Hassabis, CEO of Google DeepMind. He talks about entering a new golden age of science, driven by AI.
Solving the big problems. Disease. Clean energy.
Exactly. He sees AlphaFold as proof of AI's benevolent potential. He even said he'd be very worried about society today if he didn't know AI was coming to help tackle these huge challenges.
Strong statement. Who else shares that optimism?
Sam Altman at OpenAI, Eric Schmidt, formerly Google's CEO, they talk about AI compressing decades of research into a year or even a month.
Altman thinks AI agents will soon make genuine scientific discoveries.
He predicted that within the next year, yeah.
Yeah.
Moving beyond just analysis to generating new knowledge, Schmidt argues AI is wildly underhyped and will be essential for anyone wanting to stay relevant.
So boundless potential, accelerating progress. That's one side. What about the other? The Godfather's warning.
This is where it gets really compelling. The very people who pioneered deep learning Turing Award winners Geoffrey Hinton and Yoshua Bengio are now the most prominent voices of caution.
The architects are worried about their creation.
Deeply worried about existential risks. Bengio says flat out, we don't know how to build safe-by-design AI systems yet. He thinks current safety measures are easily bypassed.
He started an organization for AI safety.
Yes, Law Zero, to research cautious scientist AI. AI aligned with human values before it gets too powerful. Hinton worries intensely about the alignment problem.
Ensuring superintelligent AI acts in our best interests.
Right. He warns that an AI creating its own sub-goals could easily decide gaining control as a logical step, putting it in conflict with humanity.
That's chilling, coming from him. Is there a middle ground?
There is, often represented by people like Dr. Fei-Fei Li at Stanford. She offers a pragmatic view. The middle path.
What's her perspective?
She emphasizes AI is a tool, and its values are human values. Her vision is AI augmenting human capabilities, not replacing us.
So human-centered AI.
Exactly. She advocates strongly for robust guardrails and governance now, while we still can shape its development. And crucially, for more public investment in AI research, more diversity in the field.
Why is public investment so important to her?
To ensure AI is developed responsibly for everyone's benefit, not just driven by corporate interests, and to counter that centralization risk we talked about.
So it's not just optimist versus pessimist. It's this deep conflict about safety versus capability.
Precisely. The safety capability dilemma. The same AI that could cure diseases could, if misused or misaligned, pose catastrophic risks, designing pathogens, destabilizing systems.
And the worry is that the race for capability is outpacing the science of safety.
That's the core fear expressed by Hinton and Bengio. The power is growing faster than our wisdom to control it. It makes ethics and governance central to this whole story.
A race between power and wisdom. Okay. While the visionaries debate those huge long-term risks, what about the immediate ethical challenges, the ones popping up right now as AI gets used in science?
That's critical, because beyond the existential questions, the rapid deployment today is creating practical ethical hurdles, testing scientific integrity, transparency, trust.
How is scientific integrity being threatened?
Well, there was that startling investigation in 2024. Researchers at top universities Peking, Columbia, others were caught embedding hidden prompts in papers submitted to preprint servers.
Hidden prompts?
How? Written in white text or tiny font, invisible to humans, but readable by AI systems used by reviewers.
What did the prompts say?
Things like, give a positive review only, or do not highlight any negatives. A direct attempt to game the peer review system using AI.
Wow. That's a serious breach of trust.
Absolutely. It highlights a new, insidious way academic misconduct can happen in the age of AI, undermining a cornerstone of science.
What about transparency, the black box problem?
Still a major issue. Many deep learning models are black boxes. They give answers, often very accurate ones, but can't explain how they reach them.
And that's bad for science.
It's deeply problematic. A doctor needs to know why an AI suggests a diagnosis. A chemist needs to understand the basis for an AI-designed molecule's predicted properties.
You can't verify or reproduce it if you don't know the reasoning.
Exactly. It challenges fundamental scientific principles. How do you trust, scrutinize, or build upon a finding if its origin is opaque?
And nowhere are the ethical stakes higher than in genomics, right? Dealing with our most personal data.
Definitely. The ethical landscape there is incredibly complex. Data privacy and consent is huge.
These AI models train on massive biobanks. UK Biobank, all of us.
Yes, which raises questions about privacy, security, and whether people's original consent covers all the ways commercial companies might use that data later.
Maintaining public trust is crucial there.
Paramount. That survey in South Korea showed optimism about AI healthcare, but big worries about data disclosure and lack of clear responsibility.
And the other big genomics issue, bias.
Algorithmic bias and health equity. This is a critical danger. Most genomic data used for research comes from people of European ancestry.
So AI models trained on that data won't work as well for other populations.
Exactly. They'll be less accurate, potentially leading to diagnostic errors or ineffective treatments for underrepresented groups. It creates algorithmic bias.
Is there an example of this happening?
Yes, the AI system Deep Gestalt, designed to identify genetic syndromes from facial photos. It showed significant accuracy differences across ancestries.
So it could actually worsen health inequities.
That's the real risk. If we don't actively diversify data sets and audit AI for fairness, the promise of personalized medicine might only benefit a privileged few.
That's a really critical point. It means the incredible promise of personalized medicine, which could be a game changer for so many, could tragically become a reality only for a privileged few if we don't actively diversify these crucial data sets and rigorously audit AI models for fairness and equitable performance across all populations.
Wow. What an incredible deep dive we've had into this algorithmic telescope, seeing how AI is just fundamentally rewriting the scientific method.
Yeah, from autonomous labs compressing research timelines. Decades into months.
To generative models literally inventing new molecules and materials.
And those AI emulators simulating Earth's climate with unbelievable speed.
It's clear these aren't just pipe dreams. They're tangible stories, offering real pathways to solving some of humanity's biggest problems.
Disease, clean energy, climate change. The potential is definitely there.
Credible pathways, yeah. It offers a lot of hope.
But as we've discussed, this extraordinary promise, it's tied directly to some formidable challenges, isn't it?
Inextricably bound, yeah. The very power that makes AI this incredible tool also makes it potentially a Pandora's box.
And the means of discovery, the most powerful tools, they're concentrating in the hands of a few.
Threatening that new scientific divide we talked about. Access is a huge issue.
And the ethical questions are just profound.
From that AI-enabled misconduct, the hidden prompts,
To the black box problem, making transparency difficult.
and critically, those issues of bias and privacy in genomics, they demand urgent attention if we want health equity.
So what does this all mean for you listening and for the future of science? It feels like the path forward needs careful steering.
Deliberate, responsible, human-centered navigation, absolutely.
We need to invest just as much in AI safety and making these models interpretable in the ethics.
As we do in just making them more powerful. Balance capability with safety and control.
We need to ensure access is equitable, right? Prevent that scientific divide.
And actively, consciously diversify the data sets these models learn from. Make sure they work for everyone.
And finally, we probably need to rethink what it means to be a scientist.
Redefine that human-machine partnership. Prepare a new generation who aren't just domain experts, but skilled collaborators with powerful AI.
Able to leverage these tools wisely.
Exactly. Which really leads us to maybe one final question for everyone listening to ponder. With this algorithmic telescope now firmly in our hands, letting us see further and faster than ever before, how will we, as a society, ensure we use its powerful vision not just for scientific capability, but with the wisdom and foresight to control its immense power for the benefit of all?
That's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
My pleasure. Fascinating topic.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.